Welcome to the driveway. It's middle of January. We're gonna try to make a little bit of jerky on the campfire. I got a bed of coals going, but it almost died out on me. So we're gonna get a lot of smoke and a little bit of heat, and that heat will build. We'll adjust that. I've got two settings here. I've got a high setting and a low setting. And we're gonna try to get down in the smoke. And I've cut a bunch of small branches. These are bigger ones. I've cut a bunch of small green branches. We're gonna lattice into this rock work. That's gonna hold up our meat. Now, we don't want flames. Or not really strong ones anyway, so we're gonna have to be careful of that. Most of these branches are pear tree or sycamore. You do have to be a little bit aware of what woods you're using. Some are toxic, so that's something to know. Smoke's changing direction because smoke goes towards the pretty person. Well, my wife's not out here, so I guess it's just going in a random direction. So we're just going to hang these. We're going to get a smoke flavor out of this. We're just going to hang these little strips of meat. It's better if you can get it pretty thin, less than a 1/4 inch thin, thick, whatever you want to say. But you do the best you can with a knife and a rock. This I did inside, and it should be thinner, but it's an experiment. Everything we do is an experiment around here. Just trying to get better at things. Or learn things. And that's okay. I forgive myself. Getting to be 40-something years old not knowing anything. At least I've started now. So well, I'm covering up the... And there went a piece! Ah, get past that. There we go. That's why your lattices is so important here. There we go. A little string on it. Just hanging this. Haphazardly over here. Now, one of the main things I'm going to have to watch out for is the cats. They're my stand-ins for natural predators. They teach me the dangers of wild animals. My cats are my tame stand-ins. But they will come over here and snag this. And I'll get mad, but it won't do no good because I can't catch a cat with meat in its mouth. They get determined about that point. So that's all we're doing here. We're just spreading it over the smoke. If you like, there are herbs and spices. Woo, that was a little much. Did make the fire smell better though. Got an eye full of smoke, can't see what I'm doing. Got some lemon pepper. I have dehydrator in the house and I make a lot of jerky. And usually I'll soak it in Game Tame, which is something you can find in the grocery store. And all I put on it is lemon pepper and garlic salt, and that is the best jerky. But we're going to try it out here and hopefully get a little bit of a smoky flavor to it. We'll check back in every few minutes. See you in about 10. Now this is what you really don't want to happen. I put a little bit of dry stuff on there because I had so much tiny little green limbs in there causing the smoke. I wanted the smoke, but I wanted a little more heat. I needed to build it up, and now I've got a high fire that's going to burn the bottom of the meat. I want to slow cook when you're making jerky. But one of the reasons I'm doing these outside cooking videos on this particular fire lay is because I want to emphasize the way I've built up the rocks here and how practical it is to do a half spit against the rock and then a fork stick and then prop sticks up into the actual masonry. This works really well for me I'm having a flare up here, and the jerky's going to cook a little faster than I want it to. This is going to cook down though. We're going to turn the meat. We might be able to salvage it. In any event, we're going to have some cooked steak. It may not be jerky, but it's going to be cooked and we can enjoy it. And in a situation where you're out and about, or maybe lost, and you can get a squirrel or some animal that you can dry like this, this is a good way to do it. You just got to be careful about your fire and the distance of your grid from the fire. You really want to be cooking over coals. Smoke's okay. It actually helps keep the insects away in the summer. We're not dealing with that right now because it's midwinter. But just know that I want you to see the way I've built up these rocks. It brings the smoke towards it because smoke likes to climb just like fire does. Keeps it out of your face. The winds, there are a lot of cross currents today. Today's not a great example of that, but in general, the rocks help you a lot, and they also are a receiver for your sticks. So consider building up a tall side or even two of your fire. It's also a thermal heat sink, a heat sink. So it will hold some heat in the night even after your fire goes out. A lot of good reasons to have a lot of rocks around your fire. Be sure the side you're going to set on though is open so you can get that radiated heat. Alright, we're going to keep cooking. Come back in a little bit. Turning everything again. It's looking pretty good. Woo. Pretty good. Turn that one in. It's a good opportunity to move them if they're in a place where they're not cooking as fast as the others. Here's what we're looking at after 2 turns on the beef jerky trial here. It's cooking a little too fast, but you know, one of the ways jungle people preserve meat is to char the entire outside. They'll go out on hunts and they'll get birds and monkeys, and they'll have a bit of a track back, so they'll just put the whole thing down in a fire and burn the outside to a crisp. And that is one way to keep the meat. It keeps the bugs off of it. It seals everything inside. So I don't want to do that here. We're still trying to make a smoked jerky like meat, but instead of taking 6 or 7 hours, it's getting all put down into an hour, which is really probably what you're dealing with if you're just trying to cook something up before bedtime. If you're and with this quantity of meat, this is probably proportionate to what you'd get out of a trap. Not much more than this, maybe a good bit less. So the important thing to know is that we're trying to cook it as slowly as possible, but through and through. We want it to get real good and done so that it'll last over a couple of days without refrigeration. We're going to call it done. It's been out here about 1.5 hours. We've been doing this. I've just been checking it off and on while I've been doing other things in the yard. Plastic bags. It should be on your top 10 list of things to have in a get home, get out, get around bag, have in your pocket, whatever. Once we gather this up, and then I'm going to look a little closer to the camera and we'll see how it did. It's cooked through. It's not bad. Let's break open one of these big pieces. So we've got some cooked meat. Now, I'm not sure I'm prepared to call that jerky, but it is very well cooked. And I do think that it would last for a day or two for you if you were through hiking, or even if you just weren't sure how long it'd be till you caught something else.